When I was a boy, my dad and I would shoot off fireworks. Bright, colorful, almost majestic. They lit up the night sky, then disappeared into silence. Recently, I met a girl. She lit up the sky inside me the way a firework does. Sudden, dazzling, unforgettable. The first time I saw her, it felt like love at first sight. The first time we spoke, it felt like destiny. But something changed. After that first conversation, the silence grew. I tried to reignite the spark. Texts, letters, reaching out, but nothing came back. Eventually, her silence became the answer. Still, I can't stop thinking about her. She's engraved in my mind. I see her everywhere. But one image haunts me most. The dark blue beanie she wore in winter. Simple, unique. I loved it. I still see her in it sometimes. But now, it only reminds me of what once was. I can't help but wonder, was it something I said? Was it something I did? And those questions, those unanswered questions, is what's killing me inside. Like fireworks fading into the night, I'm left staring at the empty sky, searching for a light that never returns.
Okay, students, who would like to read the poems?
I'll start. Ars Poetica. Migration is derived from the word migrate, which is a verb defined by Merriam-Webster as to move from one country, place, or locality to another. Plot twist, migration never ends. My parents moved from Jalisco, Mexico to Chicago in 1987. They were dislocated from Mexico by capitalism, and they arrived in Chicago just in time to be dislocated by capitalism. Question, is migration possible if there is no other land to arrive in? My work, to imagine. My family started migrating in 1987, and they never stopped. I was born mid-migration. I've made my home in that motion. Let me try again. I tried to become American, but America is toxic. I tried to become Mexican, but Mexico is toxic. My work, to do more than reproduce the toxic stories I inherited and learned. In other words, just because it is art doesn't mean it is inherently nonviolent. My work, to write poems that make my people feel safe, seen, or otherwise loved. My work, to make my enemies feel afraid, angry, or otherwise ignored. My people, my people. My enemies, capitalism. Susan Sontag. Victims are interested in the representation of their own sufferings. Remix. Survivors are interested in the representation of their own survival. My work, survival. Question, why poems? Answer.
Who wants to read the next poem?
Okay, A Supermarket in California by Allen Ginsberg. What thoughts I have of you tonight, Walt Whitman. For I walk down the side streets under the trees with a headache, self-conscious, looking at the full moon. In my hungry fatigue and shopping for images, I went into the neon fruit supermarket, dreaming of your enumerations. What peaches and what penumbras, whole families shopping at night, aisles full of husbands, wives in the avocados, babies in the tomatoes, and you, Garcia Lorca. What were you doing down by the watermelons? I saw you, Walt Whitman, childless, lonely old grubber, poking among the meats in the refrigerator and eyeing the grocery boys. I heard you asking questions of each. Who killed the pork chops? What price bananas? Are you my angel? I wandered in and out of brilliant stacks of cans following you, and followed in my imagination by the store detective. We sat down the open corridors together in our solitary fancy-tasting artichokes, possessing every frozen delicacy and never passing a cashier. Where are we going, Walt Whitman? The doors close in an hour. Which way does your beard point tonight? I touch the door book and dream of our odyssey in the supermarket and feel absurd. Will we walk all night through solitary streets? The trees add shade to shade. Lights out in the houses. We'll both be lonely. Will we stroll dreaming of the lost past blue automobiles and driveways, home to our silent cottage? Ah, dear father, graybeard, lonely old courage teacher, what America did you have when Sharon quit pulling his ferry and you got out on a smoking bank and stood watching the boat disappear on the black waters of Lethe?
Excellent. Who wants to read Art 1?
One Art by Elizabeth Bishop. The art of losing isn't hard to master. So many things seemed filled with the intent to be lost, that their loss is no disaster. Lose something every day, accept the fluster of lost door keys, the hour spent badly. The art of losing isn't hard to master. Then practice losing farther, faster, places and names, and where it was meant to travel. None of these will bring to disaster. I lost my mother's watch, and look, my last or next to last of 3 loved houses went. The art of losing isn't hard to master. I lost 2 cities, lovely ones, and vaster, some realms I owned. 2 rivers, a continent. I missed them, but it wasn't a disaster. Even losing you, the joking voice, a gesture I love, I shan't have lied. It's evident the art of losing not too hard to master, though it may look like it. Write it, like disaster.
Awesome. Thank you. Anyone else?
Love is Not All by Edna St. Vincent Millay. Love is not all. It is not meat, nor drink, nor slumber, nor roof against the rain, nor yet a floating spar to mend that sink, and rise and sink and rise and sink again. Love cannot fill the thickened lung with breath, nor clean the blood, nor set the fractured bone. Yet many a man is making friends with death, even as I speak, for lack of love alone. It may well be that in a difficult hour, pinned down by pain and moaning for release, or nagged by want past resolution's power, I might be driven to sell your love for peace, or trade the memory or this night for food. It may well be, I do not think I would.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, so I was thinking in the poetry class right here, this was that whole thing, concert did that. It was fun.
Hey y'all, how's it going?
Hey man.
Hey,
What's up?
how you been, man?
Good, good.
Yeah.
Alright. Anyways, I was just about to head out, so yeah.
Catch you later.
See ya.
Oh, how you been?
Okay.
Good, good. You wanna walk down the trail?
Cool, man. Let's go.
So now
Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near. Between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year, he gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds a sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Stopping by woods on a snowy evening. Robert Frost.
Hey, I gotta ask you something.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you think?
what?
You see what I'm saying, bro? Like right here. So what do you think?
Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean. The one who has flung herself out of the grass. The summer day. Mary Oliver. This was once a love poem, before its haunches thickened, its breath grew short, before it found itself sitting, perplexed and a little embarrassed, on the fender of a parked car, while many people passed by without turning their heads. It remembers itself dressing as for a great engagement. It remembers choosing these shoes, this scarf or tie. Once it drank for breakfast, drifted its feet in a river side by side with the feet of another. Once it pretended shyness, then grew truly shy, dropping its head so the hair would fall forward, so the eyes would not be seen. It spoke with passion of history, of art. It was lovely then, this poem. Under its chin, no fold of skin softened. Behind the knees, no pad of yellow fat. When it knew in the morning, it still believed at nightfall. An unconjured confidence lifted its eyebrows, its cheeks. The longing has not diminished. Still it understands. It is time to consider a cat, the cultivation of African violets or flowering cactus. Yes, it decides. Many miniature cacti in blue and red painted pots. When it finds itself disquieted by the pure and unfamiliar silence of its new life, it will touch them, one, then the other, with a single finger outstretched like a tiny flame. This was once a love poem. Jane Hirschfield. Had we but world enough and time, this coyness lady were no crime. We would sit down and think which way to walk and pass our long love's day. But at my back I always hear Time's winged chariot hurrying near, and yonder all before us lie deserts of vast eternity. Thus, though we cannot make our sun stand still, yet we will make him run. To his coy mistress, Andrew Marvell.
Woo! Yeah, man. That was done.
The apparition of these faces in the crowd, petals on a wet black bow, in a station of the metro, Ezra Pound. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves in immortality. We slowly drove. He knew no haste, and I had put away my labor and my leisure too, for his civility. We passed a school where children strove, at recess, in the ring. We passed the fields of gazing grain. We passed the setting sun. Or rather, he passed us. The dews drew quivering and chill, for only gossamer, my gown, my tippet, only to lay. We passed before a house that seemed a swelling of the ground. The roof was scarcely visible, the cornice in the ground. Since then, 'tis centuries, and yet feels shorter than the day. I first surmised the horses' heads, or toward eternity.